My partner screamed, "You're psychotic. Who saves every text during our argument?" I said, "Someone learning." When my lawyer used those saved texts showing her threats and manipulation in court, the psychotic preparation paid 6 figures in damages. I, 32 male, guess I should start by saying I'm one of those people who never deletes anything. Screenshots, texts, emails, I keep it all. Started doing this after a roommate situation went south in college and I had no proof of our agreements. Since then, it's just been habit. Cloud storage is cheap, organization is easy, and you never know when you'll need to reference something. This story is about my ex, Sienna, 29. We were together for 3 years, lived together for the last year and a half. She ran a boutique marketing consultancy, mostly social media management for small businesses. I'm a software developer, nothing fancy, just steady work. The thing about Sienna was she had this way of twisting reality. Small at first. You said you'd handle dinner when I knew we'd agreed she would. I told you about this event weeks ago when it was the first I'd heard of it. Gaslighting 101, but subtle enough that I'd doubt myself. So I started screenshotting our conversations. Not maliciously, just insurance. When she'd text me something, I'd screenshot it. When plans changed, screenshot. Work stuff she'd mention, screenshot. All organized in folders by month. About 6 months ago, things got weird. She started taking on bigger clients, acting secretive about her work. Late nights, client meetings that seemed off. Then she asked me to help her with some technical stuff for a client presentation. I'm decent with code, so sure, why not? That's when I noticed something. The client she was presenting to. It was my company's biggest competitor. The presentation included strategies for poaching our clients, complete with inside information about our pricing structures and contract terms. Information only I had access to. I confronted her that night. "Sienna, what the hell is this?" I showed her the presentation on my laptop. Her face went through about 5 emotions in 2 seconds. Then the mask slipped. "Oh please, Nate, don't be so dramatic. It's just business. Just business. You're using confidential information for my job. Information you freely talked about at home. That's on you. That's corporate espionage, Sienna." That's when she lost it. Full-on screaming match. Called me paranoid, controlling. Said I was trying to sabotage her success. Then she said the magic words. "You know what? Fine. You want to be a little bitch about it? I'll destroy you. I'll tell your company you gave me that information. Who do you think they'll believe? The girlfriend running a legitimate business? Or the boyfriend who's been acting paranoid?" I stayed calm. "Is that a threat?" "It's a promise. I have texts where you discussed work stuff with me. I'll make it look however I want." That's when she noticed my phone in my hand. Are you recording this?" "Just documenting, like always." Her face went nuclear. "You're psychotic. Who saves every conversation? Who screenshots every text? What kind of sick person documents their relationship? Someone learning." I said quietly. "I think you should leave." She stormed out, but not before sending a barrage of texts. Real nasty stuff. Threats about ruining my career. How she'd make sure I never worked in tech again. How she had connections who would believe her over me. Even threatened to claim I was abusive. That she had bruises from rough sex she could photograph. Every single text. Saved. The next morning, I did 3 things. 1. Went straight to my company's legal department with everything. 2. Hired a lawyer. 3. Changed my locks. What followed was the most stressful month of my life. But thank God for my psychotic habit of documentation. Update 1. Holy hell. The entitlement is off the charts. First, my company took this very seriously. Corporate espionage isn't a joke. They immediately launched an investigation and put me on paid leave. Standard procedure, not punishment. They also provided their own lawyers to work with mine. Sienna, meanwhile, went on the offensive. Started telling mutual friends I was abusive, controlling. That I'd trapped her in the relationship by monitoring everything she did. A few believed her at first. Our friend Micah actually called me crying. saying she couldn't believe I was that kind of guy. I sent Micah one screenshot. Just one. The text where Sienna threatened to lie about abuse. Micah went silent then. Oh my God. But Sienna wasn't done. She actually went through with some of her threats. She sent an email to my company's HR, claiming I had voluntarily shared trade secrets with her for her business. Attached some of our old texts where I'd mentioned being stressed about a project or celebrating landing a client. What she didn't know. I'd been even more psychotic than she realized. See, I use this app that backs up all my messages with metadata intact. Every text had timestamps, thread IDs, the works. My lawyer, Ms. Delgado, absolute shark, was having a field day. Nathan, she said, scrolling through my organized folders. This is the most comprehensive documentation I've ever seen from a client. You could teach a class on this. The smoking gun. Sienna had texted me 2 months before the presentation. Hey babe, that competitor of yours reached out about a contract. Should I take it? Might be weird, LOL. My response. That would definitely be a conflict of interest. Probably best to pass. Her response. Yeah, you're right. I'll decline. Except she didn't decline. She took the contract and hid it from me. That text chain alone destroyed her. He voluntarily shared information defense. But wait, it gets better. Remember those threats about claiming abuse? Turns out she tried that too. Went to the police with photos of bruises on her arms. Said I'd grabbed her during our argument. One problem. I'd been at a work conference in another state when she claimed it happened. Had receipts, hotel records, conference attendance logs. The works. Plus, I'd screenshotted her Instagram stories from that exact time period. She was at a kickboxing class, posting about how intense the workout was. The police were not amused. Ms. Delgado was building a beautiful case. Defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, corporate espionage, filing false police reports. The company's lawyers were handling the corporate side. But personally, I was going after her for everything. She must have realized how badly she'd miscalculated because the text started changing tone. From threats to bargaining to straight-up begging. Nate, please. Can we just talk? This has gotten out of hand. I was emotional. I didn't mean those things. Please don't ruin my life over a misunderstanding. Update 2. Discovery phase was incredible. Y'all want to know about entitlement? Let me tell you what we found. First, this wasn't Sienna's first rodeo. Ms. Delgado's investigators found 2 previous boyfriends who'd had similar experiences. One had his small business nearly ruined when she started working with his competitors using inside knowledge. The other had faced false allegations when he tried to break up with her. Neither had my level of documentation, so nothing had stuck legally. But Sienna had gotten cocky. She'd kept emails with the competitor about the information she could provide. Actual written agreements about bonuses she'd receive for each of my company's clients she could flip. Girl really thought she was untouchable. The false abuse claim to the police. Yeah, that became a criminal matter. The DA's office doesn't play around with false reports. She was charged with filing a false police report and attempted fraud. Her lawyer, court-appointed because somehow she'd blown through her savings already, tried to negotiate, offered to drop all claims against me if I dropped my civil suit. A mess. Delgado actually laughed. Your client is facing criminal charges and a corporate lawsuit from a Fortune 500 company. She has zero leverage here. So Sienna did what entitled people do when cornered. She escalated. This time, she went after my family. Started messaging my sister on social media with screenshots of our old conversations, trying to paint me as controlling. Sent emails to my mom about how I'd ruined her life and destroyed her business. My sister's response was beautiful. She forwarded everything to Ms. Delgado and replied to Sienna with just, I've known my brother for 32 years. I've known you for 3. Also, he saved you texts about this too. Stop contacting our family or we'll add harassment to the lawsuit. But the real kicker came during her deposition. When presented with the mountain of evidence, her story kept changing. First, I'd given her the information willingly. Then, she'd overheard things. Then, it was common knowledge in the industry. Finally, when confronted with her own emails discussing the scheme, she broke down. He was going to propose, she screamed. I saw the ring in his drawer. I couldn't be tied to someone so mediocre. I needed to level up professionally first. There it was. She'd snooped, found the ring I'd bought, yeah, I'd been planning to propose, dodged that bullet, and decided to cash in on our relationship before dumping me. Ms. Delgado leaned forward. So you admit to deliberately stealing corporate information with the intent to profit? Her lawyer tried to object, but the damage was done. The criminal case moved forward. She pled guilty to filing a false police report in exchange for dropping the fraud charge. Got 6 months probation and a fine. But the civil case? That was where my psychotic documentation really paid off. Final update, court date finally came. Sienna showed up looking like she'd aged 5 years. The confident, manipulative woman I'd known was gone. In her place was someone who'd finally realized actions have consequences. Ms. Delgado presented our case methodically. Defamation. Proven through false abuse allegations to friends, family, and police. Corporate espionage. Proven through emails and the presentation itself. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Proven through documented threats and harassment. Breach of implied confidentiality. Proven through our text exchanges about conflicts of interest. The judge seemed particularly interested in my documentation system. At one point he actually said, "Mr. Thompson, this is one of the most organized presentations of evidence I've seen in a civil case." Sienna's defense was basically non-existent. Her lawyer tried arguing that couples share information all the time. But the judge shut that down quick. Sharing that you had a hard day is different from sharing proprietary pricing models, counselor. When it came time for damages, Ms. Delgado went for the throat. Lost wages for my unpaid leave, $12,000. Therapy costs from emotional distress, $3,500. Legal fees, $45,000. Punitive damages from malicious conduct, $50,000. Damage to professional reputation, $75,000. Total, $185,500. The judge deliberated for exactly 45 minutes. Came back with a judgment in my favor. Full amount. Plus she had to pay my legal fees on top of the damages. Sienna actually fainted. Like full-on collapsed in court. When she came to, she started sobbing about how she couldn't pay. How this would ruin her. The judge was unsympathetic. Ms. Rivera, you attempted to destroy this man's career and reputation for financial gain. These are the consequences of those choices. Here's the beautiful part. Because of the corporate espionage, she was basically blacklisted from marketing. No reputable company would touch her. Last I heard, she'd moved back in with her parents and was working retail. My company. They were so impressed with how I'd handled everything, they promoted me to senior developer with a significant raise. Turns out, protecting company interests gets you noticed. As for those mutual friends who initially believed her, most apologized. Some I forgave. Others I didn't. Micah became one of my closest friends after seeing how Sienna operated. I still screenshot everything. Still organize all my digital communications. Sienna called it psychotic, but it saved my career, my reputation, and got me a 6-figure payout. Oh, and that engagement ring. Sold it. Used the money for a solo trip to Japan. Best decision ever. To anyone reading this, document everything. Save those texts. Screenshot those conversations. You're not paranoid. You're prepared. And when someone shows you who they really are through their digital footprint, believe them. Sometimes being psychotic pays off. Literally. Final thoughts. Been 6 months since the judgment. Sienna tried reaching out once through a mutual acquaintance, wanting to apologize and move forward. I declined through my lawyer. There's nothing to move forward from. I'm dating again. Told my new girlfriend about my documentation habits up front. Her response. Good. I do the same thing. Want to compare organizational systems? I think I found a keeper. To everyone calling me petty in the comments, maybe. But I didn't create the evidence. I just saved it. She wrote those threats. She made those plans. She filed those false reports. All I did was keep the receipts. And those receipts were worth $185,500. Stay organized, folks. You never know when your psychotic habits might just save your life.